Cheers.
Cheers. Well, it's that time again.
I'm Susan.
And I'm Annie.
And this is
Two friends, one chat. Ta-da.
Two of us, one chat.
One combo.
Because really it'd be inappropriate to have multiple conversations. That's really not very nice. It's kind of rude.
It's 100% my pet peeve. I don't know if you've been at like a dinner with people. If it's 4 people and you can't each take turns telling stories and it turns to 2 people talking. One of the things that really I find dysregulates me is multiple sounds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yes.
it
Ooh,
is.
yes.
Very, my brain processes it poorly.
Okay.
It's
Just too much.
yeah, and I don't know what it is. I'm sure just how my brain processes information.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. And it's like, you know, when you're dysregulated, usually that looks like irritation. And that's how it looks for me. Like, I'm just like, ugh! Can we just have
Shut
one conversation? I don't know why.
Just one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you're with me at my table, right? If we're a group, let's all have a conversation.
Why else would you be in groups?
Right.
Yeah. Your
Agreed.
lips, God's ears.
Like, if you don't want to be in this conversation, like, you go pick a different table somewhere else then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't leave. Not you guys.
Oh, yeah. No.
No.
Guys. No, you
No,
guys.
no,
No,
no.
guys. No.
Just other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's our one chat.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Episode over. Mic drop.
Bam.
Bam. And you got your skills for the day. How to not dysregulate Annie.
That's my favorite skill.
To not dysregulate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have the very opposite. You're like the regulator.
Oh,
Oh, now I'm just thinking of different kind of regulation, I think, but it rings true. So.
Oh, I love it so much. I love it. Yikes.
I'm stoked for today. It's going to be kind of a fun and interesting topic.
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about...
Ooh, we are talking about, I love this one, maybe because, well, I think I recently was experiencing it, but I'm doing much better now. We're talking about burnout, which is, I think it's just something that everyone probably experiences at some point, if not multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, it's, so I think I always thought of burnout as a bad thing, and I think it's presented to us often.
Oh, yeah.
As a bad thing, right? Like, you need to do all these things so you don't.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is like, well, yes, there are things we could do so it doesn't happen as often, but I'm tired of, like, feeling bad when I do get burnt out.
Yeah.
Like, I did a bad job.
Oh, yeah, and
that's
like your fault.
That's why I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
Because I'm bad at it.
Or you didn't, you just didn't do enough self-care, so that's why you burnt out. That, you guys, I cannot preach this enough.
Okay. Oh,
that
one
true.
hit. That one hit.
Did it hit? Yeah.
That hit too hard.
Because they want to put the onus on you. And that's, in our professions, that's really common because, carrying, and you framed it so well in our last episode talking about grief and how you have this almost like a superpower where you can sit with people in their moments of grief and hold them and hold that time for them. To imagine that isn't taking a toll on you and your body is like ridiculous, right? Like,
right.
And you know that. Like, same with like in my profession, right? The spaces we hold for people, that is hard on your body, on your soul, on all those things. So to have someone say that you burnt out because you just didn't self-care enough is so frustrating in our fields because it's like, actually, this is like a byproduct of the field.
It is, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that, you put it exactly, thank you. Okay, I just haven't been able to get there before. And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I do feel like burnout is just part of our job.
Yes.
Right? It's part, especially in the social work field, and I think probably for a lot of other
Oh my
fields
goodness.
of work.
I'm thinking of
If not,
nurses,
yes,
doctors, firefighters, police officers, anyone even close to the circle of first responders. I also think of teachers.
Yes.
I can't say enough that burnout will be a natural part of your job. I think what we think and what is put on us when we hear the term burnout is that you do have to stop what you're doing and try something different. That's the only way to get out of burnout. And that's just not true.
Agreed.
Yeah, it can just be a natural part, and it really becomes what I'm feeling is the theme of this season is to start to know yourself and see when burnout is coming.
Yeah.
And then what do? You reach for those tools in the tool belt.
We hear that burnout, we think we have to stop what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? No, that's not true.
Yeah.
We pull our tool belt, bandolier, cart out.
Yes.
And be like, and I think that's where our stop, drop, and roll
Yep.
come in, right?
Ooh,
Right?
yeah.
Like, for real. I know you were just thinking fire, stop, drop, and roll, but I think we can
Yeah.
legit jump into this.
Yeah.
Like, really use it.
Yeah.
You're noticing burnout. Stop for a second to
Yeah.
notice it, right? Don't stop working and quit your job.
Yeah, it's not a hard stop.
Pause.
It's like a pause. Yeah.
Pause for a second.
Yep.
Don't actually drop to the floor.
Don't drop to the floor, but unless you need to and it's comfy, you do you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe kind of drop in the fact of like, I gotta like drop down and think about this for a second.
I gotta go back inside myself. Oh, time to do some inside work.
Time to do a little rolly work inside to figure out.
Rolling and bringing it in. I love this.
You know how sometimes you use a foam roller
Oh,
on your back
Yeah.
when you're all like cramped up and it's
Yeah.
right to get yourself loose again? You got a foam roller, you're inside.
Oh my gosh, I love this. It's like, pause,
Mm-hmm.
go back inside,
Yeah.
and roll it out.
Roll it out.
Roll it out. Just roll it out.
Foam roll.
Roll it out. You got this.
Foam roll that out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we go back at it.
I love that.
Right?
Yep.
And I would venture.
Yeah.
And tell me what you think about this because I'm just kind of spitballing here.
I'm loving this.
I would venture to say 100% true for first responders. Very obviously. Burnout.
Yes.
But I would venture to guess maybe just work in general. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no matter what your job is.
Yeah.
Just the idea of working in general
Yeah.
will at some point probably bring around burnout.
Yeah.
And that's whether you're a mailman, whether you're a cashier at a grocery store, whether you're a mom that stays home and takes care, like whatever that like job is that you do, I would venture to think at some point that's going to lead to burnout.
I think you're right, and maybe for the sake of this episode, as we're kind of talking about this idea, is almost like maybe we talk about defining what burnout is.
Ooh, I love this.
And then maybe some warning signs, because I think societally we think burnout. Oh, do you know what I think of? And I think it came out that this guy actually got hit in the head, and that's what happened. But do you remember the flight attendant that just went off on everybody and then hit the emergency exit? They were landed and like slid out the slide. Do you remember that?
No, but oh my.
And I was in the service industry years ago, and I remember reading it and being like, I like 100% identify with this. Like, there's so many times we used to call it when we were waiting tables doing like the naked walkout, which would be like, it was a smaller bar, and customers they're a lot, and it's not their fault. They're hungry, and so we used to joke about when people were really mean, we would all just go in the back. We never did this, which I'm actually a little sad of, but also not sad because it wasn't a good idea. But we would joke about going in the back, getting completely naked, and just walking out and never coming back, and just leaving the restaurant to burn.
Okay, I'm out.
And I think that in my mind, I was like, oh, if I reach that point, that's when I'm burnt out. But that's beyond burnout. That is so far beyond burnout.
I see
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, I think burnout is maybe something we should define as several steps prior to that.
Yes.
So that's
Oh, agreed.
that's like a breakdown.
That's an yes. That is not burnout.
No.
That you have broke at that point.
Yes. That's like borderline psychological breakdown.
Agreed. 100%. But you're right. I do think society
Yes.
thinks that's the point you get to.
Yep.
And then you're burnt out.
Yep.
When in reality, burnout happens way before that, but we just
Way.
don't stop, drop, and roll it. And
Yep.
it builds and 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 bam.
And you keep trying to
Mental
cover up that
breakdown.
festering wound, and it's going to come out in ways you don't expect.
We love infected wounds, man. That's just our jam here on Two Friends, One Jack. You're welcome.
Which is funny because, like, well, you are, like, more in the doctor world than I am.
Oh, I love it.
It's gross.
Love
I can't.
it.
Nope. I throw up at the sight of needles.
I love actual wounds. Like,
Ah.
yeah. But I digress. But yes, okay, so actually kind of defining what does burnout look like in true form kind of earlier on.
Yes. What is real actual
What's the
burnout?
definition?
Not like a comedic psychological break.
Yeah.
And so I think some telltale signs of actual burnout are you don't want to go to work anymore.
Yeah.
You feel hopeless about your job. You feel like disconnected, not contributing, numb maybe is another way. Feel numb about your job. You let's see, what else? Can you help me spitball?
Yeah. I think some of, and I tend to be a little more literal in my brain.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I think hit me when I know I'm hitting that point is like when that phone rings.
Oh yeah.
Right? Just the noise of the phone ringing, and I'm like, ugh.
Ugh.
Right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
Or that ding of that email chimes, and I'm
Ugh.
like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like one more thing and I'm gonna like, I swear to goodness.
Right? Just kind of noticing that about myself, or getting like frustrated quicker.
Okay.
I think for me, get like flustered, or I mean, we're in helping profession, so the minute I feel like I don't want to help someone, like that's a sign for me,
Yeah.
right? That like, ooh, maybe.
Oh, like your like desire to provide customer service.
Yeah.
That's actually a great indicator, and I think in the helping profession, we do not honor that enough.
Agreed.
So if you're like saturated in caregiving, so like you're maxed out, that is, you've reached burnout, right? Like anything beyond that point, because what's really hard in our professions is you can do more harm than good in that state. It's
Thank
really
you.
scary. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I do think there's for me, there's a big difference. I tend to be the type of social worker that wants to empower. So
Love
like
that.
I don't want to do stuff for you. I want to help you do stuff for yourself.
Yes.
And there are different social workers have different views, right? And a lot of social workers just want to help do it all for you.
Yeah.
That's their jam. That's not my jam. But to me, there's a difference between like I want to help you do it yourself, and then me just being like, do it yourself. Like that's when I know I'm hitting that burnout. When I'm not like, let me help you get the tools to do that on your own.
Yeah.
And just like, God, do it yourself. Right?
And almost, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That quote, just do it yourself. You know, like that is a perfect definition of burnout. So when you start hearing, and that's what I believe to be true burnout, because I think we need to start scaling burnout as, when do we stop doing positive for those we're serving and dip into the negative pot? And I think that's when you've reached burnout. Not these hilarious psychological breaks, which, by the way, psychological breaks are never funny, but but yes. I don't know, look it up. It was a pretty hilarious story, and honestly I hope they're doing well, but it was, I just remember reading that as a bartender, and I'm like, I wish I could do that. Like, I feel like I love this story so much. I was also way past burnout at that point. So.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. We were way beyond that point. Way beyond that point. But, I love this theory of burnout is the moment where it's almost like we should maybe redefine burnout as caring saturation. So you can't do anymore. And I keep referencing our profession, but this is across professions.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to always laugh at people and they're like, take your breaks, do what you know. But I really believe in that because sometimes you just need that moment to do exactly what we're talking about, to stop, take your pause.
Right.
Don't quit. Just stop for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think that's like the definition. It's like, don't quit, but stop. Go back inside yourself.
Yeah.
And roll it out. Roll it out.
Yeah.
Roll it out.
And I completely agree, and I think this idea can be used kind of very quickly in the moment.
Yeah.
If needed.
Yeah.
Right? But also kind of like a bigger scale, like I'm noticing this a lot. Yeah. I need to look at like maybe a bigger pause. Again, not quitting, but like maybe I do need to take that day off. Right?
Yeah, take your vacation.
Or maybe I do need to do that thing, but also maybe in the moment of that shift or that day, being like, I don't normally stop and eat lunch, but today I need to.
Yeah.
Today that's something I need to do. Yep. And I'm going to do it because I'm recognizing these things.
Yeah.
And I need to roll it out.
Roll it out. And roll it out. It's so in motivational interviewing, there's this term rolling with resistance. So instead of like confronting resistance and things like that, which we all know just doesn't work, you yeah. Who would have thunk?
What?
And so it is like this, like kind of rolling with it and sort of absorbing it and finding the right time to like interject, maybe bringing it back to that. And I almost see that as true for this like idea of like rolling it out because if you work with people on any level, which you have a job, you probably do, huh? Wow.
Probably.
Yeah.
And even if not face to face, you're still working with their stuff, right? You might be working with their money or their clothes or their car, right? You're still touching people and their life somehow.
And it is always exhausting.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. So I think it's so important to just give that second to kind of roll it out, Yeah. And then you'll prevent the big breaks.
The big breaks. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And hopefully help yourself recognize things sooner.
Absolutely.
For the next time. Because I think sometimes even just being able to name what that thing is, once you finally have done the work in recognizing oh, this is burnout. That is what I'm feeling right now. Mm-hmm. It will help make everything a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Just calling it out.
What are your signs? Like, what do you notice about yourself that you're approaching burnout?
I really do think my big one is when I don't want to help. Yeah. I know when I'm just do it your stinking self. That's my big one.
Okay.
For me, that one email that comes in and I'm like, what? Right, I just can't. Now, look it up yourself.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, social workers do a lot of Googling.
Absolutely.
That's kind of part of our job is just to research things for people.
Yeah, to find stuff for people when they're overwhelmed. Easy. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And so when I hit that point when I'm just want to tell someone to Google it themselves, right? I know I'm burnt out.
Yeah. It's time to care for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also think when, and I think this can go from work to home and from home to work, kind of that piece of bringing whatever that is to the other space, right? When my work is coming home and I'm not happy or I'm not participating or I'm not, I think it could be true also of if you have a rough maybe home life, that coming into your work. Maybe you're burnt out at home and it's coming in to your work. I think it could go either way. But when it starts carrying over into other pieces, that's a bit. Then to me, that's a bigger one that I've probably missed some earlier signs.
Yeah,
and I need to be looking a little bit harder when I get to that point of it crossing.
Oh, I think that is such a beautiful point because I think one of the things is, how we're talking about that's almost beyond a sign of burnout. I think if you, in a week, if each day in that week, it's bleeding over into your home life, and it isn't situational, right? Like maybe you have a company that went through a merger. You will probably feel that pressure
Yeah.
for like a month, you know, things like that. But if this is your job and it is consistently bleeding over negatively, you can't participate, you're not present for your spouse, your children, that's beyond burnout. Like,
right.
At this point,
right.
like, yeah, like, so I think I love that we're kind of talking about this and piecing out this idea, because what we've considered to be burnout, I think, is way beyond burnout previously, I think.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I really do.
Your job should not make you not present for your children and your partner.
Yeah.
And those around you. Like,
yes.
Because they need that relationship desperately. Yeah. Because 80% of that brain. That's my favorite fact.
Every time.
That's my, but I do like that. Like, if you're, maybe it's like the second or third day in a week and you're like, all you can talk about is frustrations with your job, with your partner, or, you know what I mean? Like, you snap at your kids and you're like, I'm sorry, I just had a bad day. Which, by the way, it's totally fine to snap at your kids. It happens a million times.
Yeah.
It's reparations.
And burnout is different than a bad day.
Yeah, exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
Bad days happen.
Total. Oh, yeah.
And we do snap at the wrong people, right?
Absolutely.
And like you said, it's an apology, it's a recognition, it's a trying to use your tools, put better things in place to not do that as often, but
if that is happening to you day after day after day, that's beyond burnout.
We're past burnout now.
That's like, get yourself into therapy right away, reinvestigate priorities, because the people around you need you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But I like that. Like, you could almost like count the days, if it's like 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and you're noticing more and more and more. That's a great indicator that we are reaching burnout. You have maxed out care saturation. There's nothing.
Yes.
Like you will feel kind of hopeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it's important to, once we've recognized that, right, taking the steps to fix it.
Yeah.
Not just, I really don't like the word fix, but it keeps popping out of my mouth, so it is what it is.
Pro-construct. There you go. But I think our listeners know what you're saying. Like, just because you're fixing something doesn't mean it's totally broken, right? This isn't a land of absolutes. It's like an engine, and you're going to replace, like, the air filter. You know what I mean?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I think that, the more we kind of talk about this burnout and wanting, it's so hard because some of the advice I want to give feels a little bit like, go care for yourself, which we hate doing that. But the advice that I would provide is be really serious about your vacation and be intentional, which is, especially if you're younger, is going to feel weird. I think this new generation has much more comfort than our generation did, which is really positive, of being like, no, I need this time off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And so I just want to encourage you, if you feel uncomfortable asking that of your employer, maybe do some self-examination, because I want you to feel comfortable asking for that time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason you accrue vacation, especially if you're in, like I am, in a bureaucratic system. It's super aggravating. So use that time you're given. And I remember the first time I was doing direct casework, where I came to my supervisor and I was like, hey, I want to tell you that I'm going to be sick tomorrow, but I need a day. Like, I am struggling. Like, and I had gone too long, because at that point I'm like almost, like, I'm really fighting back the tears,
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's why, like,
that's why it's there.
Yeah, like, there was no...
You don't have to tell me anything. Just take it.
Yeah, like, kind of like that, like, why are you even telling me, go... She literally...
Go now.
Yeah, it was like 4 o'clock. She's like, go now. Because she knew, I work, like, really intensely. And so, but I remember, like, the relief I felt once I did that. And this was so interesting to me, because I did not grow up with a healthy example of work-life balance. So when I started applying that to myself, it felt unnatural. Just like in your social circles, when you were saying, like, well, I don't do anything in, like, the club category, because I never did that.
It wasn't a thing I did.
Yeah, so it feels weird as an adult to do something, and what kind of blew my mind was how well it worked. Once you started taking work-life balance seriously, it, like, works. I don't know, you guys, I'm sure there are many listeners that are hearing this and you're like, duh, of course it does. It was a revelation to me. Like,
well, I want to say I'm right there with you, but I think I'm actually a couple steps behind you in that area.
fact.
I very much struggle to take all of my PTO. And we have great PTO at my work, in my nonprofit. We very blessed, very blessed. We have, and I mean, it's already the middle of November.
Yeah.
And I still have a ridiculous amount of PTO.
Dude, you got to take your PTO.
So I do hear you. And it is something I'm working on.
Yeah.
I currently still find more anxiety when I take it, and it's still not feeling beneficial to me, but I'm trying.
Well, here's what I will validate too. In your field, I imagine taking time off would be exceptionally difficult because you're working with clients that may pass away in that time.
Yeah.
That would be really, really hard. So I want to validate that. What if you did, like, this is me jumping into fix-it mode. So you can tell me to shut it if you want. What if you did, like, you just took your Fridays off?
Right, so that's kind of where, because again, I think we get so much presented with these extremes, right?
Yeah.
You're burnt out, so you need to go take a week-long tropical vacation,
Yeah.
right? And it always
That
feels like
actually won't
that's
solve
how
it.
it's presented to me.
Yeah.
And it's always like, number one, a week off?
Yeah.
That's going to cost me 3 weeks of work when I get back, so no thank you.
Yeah.
2, we can't all afford a tropical vacation.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to sit at home for a week. That sounds more anxiety producing for me.
There is like the greatest Saturday Night Live skit exactly on what you're talking about, and it's Adam Sandler hosting, so it's pretty recent. I think it's in the last like 3 years, and he's pretending to be a vacation tour guide.
Oh.
And he's giving commercials for, like, I don't know, like cruises or something. And basically he launches in and he's like, listen, this cruise will not make you happy. Sad you at home is going to be sad you on this cruise. And I was like, that is the most, like, insightful.
Yes.
Because a week tropical vacation will not relax you. Like, because think of the travel, think of the, you know, like, if you need to establish the ability to enjoy, like, time off.
Yes.
And a great way to do that, I think, would be in little doses. So try that every Friday, you know.
Right. So I'm not, for some people, a week-long tropical vacation will relax you. And that is a beautiful lifelong goal that I would love to get to.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'm working on that, so I don't want... I think Annie was just saying for me, right? Not for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you can do it, go. Please enjoy it for me. But instead of just not taking PTO at all, like you were saying, I'm trying to like just take more Fridays.
I love
because that feels more manageable.
Yep.
That's like, okay, well, I can handle whatever comes in on a Friday on Monday.
Love that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if I don't have anything to do, I don't mind just an extra day at home on the weekend, right?
Oh,
to get caught up or... So I am doing more of that.
That's
and
great.
I do think that's helpful.
Yeah.
And maybe even taking more like half days even sometimes.
Love that. I love that. Yes.
That's the next thing I'm starting to kind of play around with is, you know, if that morning was just really rough, just take the afternoon off.
Hell yes.
Just take it off. Like,
you could also
don't
like
push it.
Because I feel like knowing you will always tell yourself it wasn't that hard of a day to take the second day, half of the day off.
Yeah.
Because I know and love this woman. So maybe you could do things like book a massage at like 2 p.m. So you know you're just going to be done at 2.
Right.
Like, or 1:30, however long it takes you to get to massage.
Yeah.
And you're doing things to release those positive chemicals, which #throwback to happy chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would do things like that, like book a pedicure at 1 on this day. So you know you're taking that half day. Keep going back to pedicures. I really want one.
Okay.
But and again, this circles back to one of the very strong themes of this season is like really knowing yourself, knowing what brings you joy, what brings you contentment, what releases those happy chemicals for you. Like,
yeah,
I love physical touch. I think that's oxytocin, right? The cuddle hormone. It is obviously released when I have massages, when I get pedicures, like, and I almost love having a professional do it more. In fact, I was just watching The Daily Show and they talked about, the professional cuddlers.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I totally get that. I get why 100%. People would pay for that. Yeah. Like, no question at all. That being said, I just think it's really important that you know who you are.
Yes.
And know what brings you joy, what makes you happy, and that you apply that as you start to see these little, like, signals, like, once you've reached care saturation, once you realize 3 days this week I brought my work home, and I snapped at my partner.
Right.
I'm like, whoa.
My burnout like balance is off. I need to bring some of those other joy things in.
And I can't stress this enough. It is not selfish that you bring those joy things in because everyone's going to benefit.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It is not selfish.
No.
Yeah. And it can be big things and it can be little things. I think one of the things I do kind of in the middle of the day if I need to, I stinking love TikTok.
Oh, I love that.
It makes me laugh so much. There's cute baby cows on there all the time.
Oh.
Like, so like, if I'm kind of feeling myself or that, you ever have those days where every email you answer, 5 more come in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes on those days, I'm like, I just need to, and I don't get a lot of days in the office, but I'm like, I just need to turn my chair around.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to TikTok for 5 minutes. I'm just going to balance it back out. Just right?
Yeah.
Just
get some giggles in there. Giggles really will help your perspective. Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's actually a really big deal. Yeah.
Right.
You are much likely to snap at people if you've giggled in the last 20 seconds. That's an Annie fact, but I think it's real. It feels right.
And I think we do this because, and I think this is true of all people and professions and work.
Yeah.
We want to do our job well,
right?
Oh,
yeah.
So it's not that, like, I hate everybody, and that's why I'm doing this, to avoid you, because I really don't like my job, right? I think we all like our job, and on some level, we all like to work.
Yeah.
On some level. I know not everyone loves every job, right? But
we have found purpose. When you have purpose, that you have better mental health outcomes. Yeah.
Right?
I think that's what you're saying.
So I think it's okay, and again, I think I'm talking to myself more than anyone else, is that, like, that break is not because I don't like the people I'm about to work with, or I don't like the people I was just emailing with, or I don't like my partner that just made me mad, right? I'm not taking that break because of them.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm taking that break because I want to give everyone my best, and I want to be my best, and I have to stop for a second to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that.
Does that make sense?
I love that you have, because I think that you're more likely to feel guilty about taking a break if you think you're correlating it with, like, they irritated me, now I need a break. And you're more likely to have less guilt if you're like,
welcome to my head, Annie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's really hard. I will say one of my great strengths is that I do not feel guilt.
Yes.
Enjoying things or taking time for myself, or I just have never.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we talked about strengths and weaknesses on how you're raised, and I've covered a lot of the struggles, especially this
season, yeah.
There is something about the way I was raised that I pursue personal joy, and I think that has been looked on as a negative for females.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome. And now, as an adult, I do tons of things I enjoy. I
love it.
I enjoy
jealous
every day, and I feel zero guilt for it. And so
I feel all the guilt for all the things.
Mine will wear off on you.
Okay.
It's just
rub it
wear
off.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We'll push that guilt away. Yeah. So that is something that's, I think, really, I'm really grateful for. So
I love that.
It's one of my
love
strengths.
that.
Yeah.
That's going to be wonderful when I get there.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
I think
I'm already getting there. I'm already making baby
definitely.
steps. So
you're crushing it.
I am.
Like, you put lights up in your yard. You have dogs again. You have There are so many things that I see that you are like letting these joyful pieces into your life again.
And
so,
not feeling guilty about them.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, her dogs are so cute, you guys. Emmy and Irish, and they both have my heart.
All dogs have our hearts.
It's true.
And you want them all.
Emmy's face, she is so muscular. She looks like some kind of large sledding dog. Doesn't she kind of? Maybe. I mean, I know it's all question marks, right? Like, yeah.
I don't know.
But she's got the curl
She
tail.
is all muscle.
Oh,
yeah.
She's a sweet pea, too. She gets really offended if you're in her spot. It's so cute. Like, she'll pretend she wants to cuddle, but she's really like,
really
could you just
get
like,
out of that's where I sit.
Yeah, that's like mine. And then Irish is just, he'll do anything for affection.
He will. Oh, when he looks up at you like that. Oh,
you can
stop
see
it.
the little wipes of his eyes, and he just
I miss him so much.
Throws his head back. Love me. Okay, all right. Yeah. Anyway, I digress talking about dogs. But I do see you really welcoming in more joyful things, drawing boundaries with people that have kind of, you know, like, you know, your family demands a lot of you.
Boundaries will also help with burnout. I'm glad you said that.
Whoa, how did we not even start with that hashtag throwback?
Well, I think that's not that there's leveling. I'm just thinking of gaming in my head, right?
Oh yeah,
I feel like boundaries for burnout is a little higher level. Like, you've got to have done some work.
Yeah.
To use that in the right way for the right purpose, if that makes sense.
I love that.
I don't think you need to be at a certain level to use boundaries. Everyone can use boundaries, but specifically for that,
yes,
I think it takes a little more work.
Yep. Oh, boundaries boundaries are the greatest thing in the world. And if you haven't, go listen to our boundaries episode, because we talk a lot about how that might change dynamics and how good they are and how sometimes they change, and that's good.
Yes.
And how to navigate that and how to have loving boundaries. It's I cannot promote boundaries enough. Yeah.
And I think what I'm doing currently, and we talked about a little bit, is setting boundaries for myself. Like, I've reset some new boundaries around some things.
Awesome.
I think to help with my burnout.
Good for you.
So
that's awesome.
So it doesn't even have to be like this big
conversation with your boss,
right? With someone else about, I need the X, Y, and Z to happen. I'm telling myself, you need X, Y, and Z to make this piece of life
good for you,
calmer, and to feel better, and to have a better balance. So you need to do that, Susan. And then I talk to myself, and I'm like, you're right. It was actually a good combo.
You know what's funny? I want to go back and listen to our boundaries episode, because I don't think we talked a lot about internal boundaries and self-boundaries.
Oh.
So we should probably explore that, because that's an incredibly important part of, because, you know, you can only change people outside of yourselves at none.
Yeah. I
wanted to say a little bit, but the truth is you can't. There's no, that is not our capacity. So I think having internal boundaries can be so important for our own sanity. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think we really covered that in boundaries episodes. I think it was more just like spoken boundaries with people.
Yeah.
So we'll cover that in an upcoming episode. We'll talk to you.
Yeah. We'll add it to our list.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it is true that all of our mental health stuff, it all builds on each other.
Blends
it's all
together,
woven in together. So I mean, we will end up talking about boundaries a million different times in a million different ways. Just because we have one episode called Boundaries doesn't mean we're done, right?
That's all you need. 30 minutes, boundaries,
There is not a single topic on our list that we won't probably hit again in some other form or way. So get used to that with mental health. It all plays into each other. So.
Oh, and it's so fun, too. I mean, I have enjoyed my mental wellness journey so much, and it's really put purpose behind completing projects and purpose behind the podcast, and just this, like, I feel like I've really found a niche that I love to build on, which is I want everyone to experience the positivity of, like, mental stability.
Yes.
And I think, Gosh, it makes doing the podcast so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of share that out to our listeners. Yeah. Which, sorry, go ahead.
What?
I was gonna say, just brings me to the point where, if you have something you want to talk to us about, reach out, because we are just stoked to hear from you, and I'm so grateful that you've joined us.
Yes, like if there's something we haven't covered or something we did but you want us to go somewhere else with it or deeper into it, so please, yes, please let us know. And I just want to bullet point burnout really quick.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Just watch for it, right?
Look for it, yeah.
Know that it's normal.
Super normal.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. It's normal.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I can't stress that enough. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's part of life.
Yeah.
Recognize it, right? So we're pausing, right?
Mm-hmm. You stop, don't quit. Stop,
don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Okay. Then we drop a little bit.
Isn't that from Saturday Night Live like a president's?
I think so. Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
It's really funny.
Anyway, stop, don't quit.
Stop, don't quit.
Okay. You recognize something, right? So you stop, don't quit. You pause. To me, in my head, I'm pausing. I'm going to sit down for a second.
I love that.
I'm going to sit down.
Yep.
And be like, okay, I recognize something. What do I need to do?
Yep.
To roll it out. What's your rolling tool?
Yep.
For this particular instance.
Could be a venting session. Could be a therapy session.
Yes.
Could be a hot bath. Could be a run. Could be a walk around the block. Could be...
Yes.
Maybe it's something that has to wait till the end of the day because you're a teacher with a class full of kids.
Yeah.
So you just put that in the back of your mind that you, at that end of the day, you sit down, and then you find a way to roll it out.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a get together with friends. Maybe you just need to connect.
Maybe it is bigger. Maybe it is a shift in your job, right?
Yes.
Maybe there's different duties that you take on or a
Yes.
different level that you're headed to. And sometimes it is a whole different job switch, right?
Yep. Oh,
and maybe that's not necessarily because of specific burnout.
Yeah.
But it can be those kind of bigger pieces as well. But yes, so stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll
with
it
burnout.
out. Roll it out. And don't let it get to a psychological break, which we have previously defined as burnout. And that's not burnout,
It's
guys.
not.
That's not burnout.
That is not true burnout. That's a mental break.
That is a mental break, and it's serious and really scary.
It's very scary and sad and not good, and we don't want you to get to that.
That's
please.
exactly right. Yeah.
Please,
these are tools so you can know yourself and not get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh.
You guys, I just have the best time.
Me too.
Oh, okay. We love you so much. Share it out, like, rate, subscribe. Did I do that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.